Your sperm count is much lower than expected.
We've been seeing this more often in younger patients.
What this couple was experiencing was no longer considered rare. In September 2022, scientists published one of the most disturbing fertility studies in recent history. The report suggested that average sperm counts around the world had dropped dramatically over the last several decades. At first, many people ignored it. Because fertility decline does not spread like a virus, there are no lockdowns, no emergency sirens, no collapsing hospitals. But quietly, inside laboratories across multiple countries, researchers had already started noticing the same strange pattern. Something appeared to be changing in the human body, and nobody fully understood why. Some experts blamed stress, others suspected lifestyle changes, but then more studies started appearing, and suddenly, the question became much more frightening. What if modern life itself was affecting human fertility? At first, the decline seemed small, almost unnoticeable, but over time, scientists started observing the same trend in different parts of the world: North America, Europe, Australia, and later parts of Asia and Africa. The numbers kept moving in the same direction, downward. Researchers studying male fertility began reporting lower sperm concentrations in younger men, and in some countries birth rates also started collapsing. In South Korea, the fertility rate dropped to one of the lowest levels ever recorded. Japan faced similar concerns. Governments started warning about aging populations and shrinking workforces. But inside scientific circles, another fear was growing quietly in the background. What if this was not just a social problem? What if something biological was changing too? And then researchers started investigating possible causes: microplastics, forever chemicals, air pollution, hormone-disrupting compounds, processed food, heat exposure, even everyday household products. The deeper scientists looked, the more complicated the mystery became. Then another alarming discovery started making headlines. Microplastics had already been found in human blood, human lungs, placentas, and even inside the human brain. Researchers were now also investigating whether these particles could affect reproductive health. At the same time, scientists studying PFAS chemicals, often called forever chemicals, warned that some compounds may interfere with hormones linked to fertility and development. These chemicals had already been detected in drinking water, food packaging, rainwater, and human blood samples across the world. And unlike many toxins, they do not break down easily. Some remain in the environment for years, possibly decades. Suddenly, fertility decline no longer looked like one isolated issue. It began to resemble a much larger environmental mystery, one involving modern chemicals, industrial pollution, and the human body itself. For decades, fertility experts believed declining birth rates were mainly connected to economics and changing lifestyles. People were marrying later, working longer, having fewer children. But some researchers suspected there might be another explanation hidden underneath the social trends. Dr. Shanna Swan, an environmental and reproductive epidemiologist, became one of the most recognized voices warning about sperm count decline. Her research suggested the decline was happening faster than many experts expected, and according to some studies, the trend appeared to be accelerating. That possibility alarms scientists worldwide, because reproductive health is often viewed as a signal of overall human health. And if fertility was changing globally, it could mean something much larger was happening beneath the surface. One of the biggest challenges in this mystery is that exposure may already be unavoidable. Microplastics have now been detected in oceans, seafood, salt, drinking water, clouds, and even the air people breathe indoors. Meanwhile, PFAS chemicals have spread so widely that some scientists describe them as nearly impossible to avoid completely. And unlike visible pollution, these exposures are mostly invisible. People cannot see them entering the body. They cannot smell them, and in many cases, scientists still do not fully understand their long-term effects, which creates another disturbing possibility. The exposure may have been building silently for years before anyone realized it was happening. For many couples, fertility struggles become deeply emotional experiences. Years of treatments, medical appointments, financial pressure, and uncertainty. Doctors and fertility clinics around the world have reported increasing demand for reproductive assistance over the last several years. Meanwhile, online discussions exploded after younger generations started hearing more about declining sperm counts and hormone disruption. Some people became terrified. Others accused the media of exaggeration. And scientists themselves often disagreed about how serious the situation truly was. But despite the disagreements, most experts agree on one thing: more research is urgently needed, because researchers still do not fully understand how modern environmental exposure may affect future generations. Despite the alarming headlines, scientists repeatedly emphasize something important. Humanity is not suddenly becoming infertile overnight, and many fertility studies remain controversial or incomplete. Researchers still debate how much lifestyle matters, how much pollution contributes, and how different chemicals interact inside the body. Some experts argue that declining sperm counts do not automatically mean widespread infertility. Others warn that the long-term trends should not be ignored. Right now, the greatest concern may not be what scientists already know, but what they still do not know. The fertility discussion is no longer just about medicine. It is becoming connected to economics, environmental policy, public health, population decline, and the future of entire societies. Countries with rapidly falling birth rates are already facing serious demographic concerns. Smaller, younger populations, aging workforces, economic pressure, and rising healthcare costs. Meanwhile, scientists continue investigating whether environmental exposure could make these trends even more complicated in the future. If modern pollution is affecting reproductive health, then this may not be a problem isolated to one country or one generation. It could become one of the defining global health questions of the 21st century. For now, scientists are not telling people to panic. There is still no single confirmed explanation for global fertility decline, and researchers caution against oversimplifying the issue. But many experts agree on something important. The trends are serious enough to deserve attention. Researchers continue studying microplastics, chemical exposure, nutrition, stress, heat, and hormonal disruption, because understanding the problem may take years, possibly decades. And until scientists fully understand what is happening, many questions will remain unanswered. For most of human history, people worried about overpopulation. Now, some countries are facing the opposite fear: population decline, falling birth rates, and growing uncertainty about the future of human fertility itself. The most unsettling part is that scientists still do not have one clear answer, only patterns, warnings, and growing concern. Because if something in modern life is quietly affecting human reproduction, the changes may have started long before the world ever noticed them.